Hello, hello, hello. Great to see you all in here. The story is getting intense, isn't it? We didn't know what to do next, and still don't. Cass is not the killer. So, who are the killers? Let's continue the story immediately.
Cust's arrest is a great success for you, Poirot. It's all clear now, except maybe one or two details.
Details. Ah, mon ami. The devil is in the detail, as we say.
Excuse me?
Patience, Hastings. Everything will be clear once our guests arrive. Best be prepared. Slip a revolver into your pocket before they do.
A revolver? But Poirot, what are you afraid of?
Trust me. It is important you carry a weapon for this meeting. I will lend you mine.
What about telling me what you have in mind?
Surtout pas. You wouldn't be able to play your role. Wait one moment, I will bring you my weapon.
So, Cass is still get arrested. Poirot is holding a meeting? With whom? What for?
Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag.
And we need a revolver? For what? What kind of meeting will we see?
Daily Flicker, September the 11th, 1935. ABC Affair, Terminus Doncaster, Japp and Poirot arrest the killer. A.B. Cust is the name of the alphabet murderer. The police have arrested him in a hotel in Doncaster. He was preparing to kill his fourth victim, Mr. Dick Dudley Dunbar, the establishment manager. Mr. Dunbar owes his life to the miraculous intervention of Inspector Japp of Scotland Yard and Detective Hercule Poirot. The Lancet, September 11th, 1935. General Medical Journal. The alphabet murderer is not psychotic, according to Professor Thompson. In an early issue, we claimed that the alphabet murderer was not psychotic. Our assertion has just been confirmed by Professor Thompson, a Scotland Yard expert, who has spoken to the prisoner at great length. Not all obsessional killers are psychotic, he explained. It is true that Cust has a disturbed personality and memory disorders. But his amnesia, whether real or pretended, does not alter the fact that he was perfectly lucid at the time of his acts. Therefore, he will not escape punishment.
The newspaper only know that Cass is the culprit. The Lancet also agree that Cass is the culprit.
The white ammunition are blank cartridges. The others are real bullets.
Blank or real bullets, folks?
The revolver is loaded with real bullets. I still have time to choose blanks. The revolver is loaded with blanks. I still have time to choose real bullets.
Let's fill it with blank bullets.
What about telling me what you have in mind?
Surtout pas. You wouldn't be able.
I told you, Hastings, I can't tell you the intention of this revolver. Although I don't know either.
Voila, I entrust you with my weapon. It has hardly been used, it is almost new. Chief Inspector, is that you?
Yes. Sorry, but we haven't found anything.
Have you checked the typewriter?
And the packaging, the letter, and the ribbon reel. We've only found prints left by Cust and his landlady.
Well, never mind, I shall make do.
So, are you still going to hold your meeting?
Of course, Chief Inspector. I can hear my guest coming up the stairs.
Why have you brought us here, Mr. Poirot?
Since Cust's arrest, I thought it was all done and dusted. Miss Gray formally identified him, as well as Miss Barnard.
Yes, and the stockings he sold are of the same brand as the ones found at my aunt's.
This is all true. However, a case is not closed if some questions remain open. And one question is, why did the murderer send me his letters? Why did he challenge me, Hercule Poirot?
Perhaps he wanted to play with you, to taunt you.
Xenophobia? Maybe he didn't like you because you're foreign.
I may be wrong, but maybe by provoking you he was looking for glory?
All these theories should be studied. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Why did the murderer make a mistake in the address? The letter's late arrival saved the murderer. The error in the address caused the letter to be delivered late. The murderer always warned Poirot about his murders. The mistake is intentional. Why did the killer send his letters to Hercule Poirot? Poirot's address is not very well known. He wrote to Poirot because his address is not very well known.
Is everything clear now?
You might like to explain your reasoning again.
Of course. First of all, remember that the murderer made it a rule to always post his letter before the murder. He never digressed from that rule. However, in Churston, he encountered a problem. The village has only 500 inhabitants. With advance warning, it would be easy to arrest him. Therefore, the murderer delayed his letters deliberately with the wrong address. The plan wouldn't have worked if he'd sent it to Scotland Yard or the papers because everybody knows their addresses. The mistake would have been corrected and the letter would have been on time. That is why the murderer chose me as the recipient.
Because for his plan to succeed, it was necessary for at least one of the letters to have a wrong address and get lost. It was very cunning.
Absolument. It is a very subtle plan. It matches the profile we have drawn up of him perfectly. That of an intelligent, daring and calculating murderer.
But that's not how you describe Cust.
You are quite right, mademoiselle. Like you, I find it hard to believe that this dull character is the clever murderer we are looking for.
Do madmen... I mean, if he's mad, he might have two very different sides.
No doubt. But the murderer is not mad. All the specialists agree that he does not have the profile of a psychopath.
But if Cust is not guilty, how do you explain his presence at the scene of the crimes?
Mr. Clark, the answer to your question is in the medical records of your brother's patients. Documents which Cust most certainly did not have access to. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
What do we know about Cust? Cust is easy to influence. Cust was wounded during the war. Cust is mentally fragile and easy to manipulate. How to explain Cust's presence at the crime scenes?
Alice Asher and Betty Bernard are in Dr. Clark's medical records. The murderer found a way to access Dr. Clark's medical records and tried to burn them in order to hide his tracks. Cust was manipulated. The killer made him go to towns so as to hide his tracks. He did not kill and he did not have Dr. Clark's medical records.
Dr. Clark's patients' records provided a very useful list of potential victims, sorted by alphabetical order. The killer definitely used it, explaining the fact that all the victims were former patients of the doctor. It is this fact that clears Cust once and for all, because he never had access to these records. So how did he happen to be at the scene of the crimes? Either the murderer sent him there, or Cust was following him closely. Cust's highly suggestible nature leads us to the second hypothesis. The murderer was manipulating him. He systematically sent Cust to the towns where he was going to strike. so that the suspicion would land on the poor man's shoulder.
That's evil. What sort of killer could have such a plan? And what would he gain from 3 completely different murders?
Indeed, it seems unlikely that the same murderer committed all the crimes. What should we take from that? Just one murder was of benefit to the murderer. The others were just diversions. On reflection, there is only one conclusion. The murderer killed once out of interest and twice to divert our attention. This reasoning points at 2 potential culprits.
Franklin Clark.
Donald Fraser?
Yes, mademoiselle, that's good thinking. Mr. Fraser may have killed Betty out of jealousy. Mr. Clark may have killed his brother in order to inherit his large fortune. Both have a motive.
But Donald did not have access to Dr. Clark's records.
Please allow me to disagree with you, mademoiselle. Donald, too, has been treated by the doctor.
You're quite wrong, Mr. Poirot, and it shouldn't be difficult to prove.
Oui, please excuse me. It was a slip of the tongue. This is what I wanted to say. Donald, Sir Carmichael was one of your firm's customers. We found a surveyor's report among his papers that proves it.
It doesn't prove that I went to Comeside.
You could have done it, and you may have used the opportunity to take a look at Sir Carmichael's records.
You think I'm guilty?
You or Mr. Franklin Clark?
That's ridiculous.
Both of you have a motive. The question is, which of you has the profile that most resembles the murderer? Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Is Donald clever? He is a bright man with a promising career ahead of him. Clever. Is Donald sure of himself?
Mr. Poirot, since Betty's dead, I have doubts about myself. I don't know what to do, and I keep having a horrible dream, 3 nights in a row. Easy to influence.
Is Donald a seducer? Well, women seem to like him. I think Megan will take care of him. Seducer. Does Donald like trains? I'll sleep on the train. I like trains. It's easy to sleep, rocked by the sound of the wheels. Like trains. Is Donald impulsive?
It was a novel scene. She told him that until they were married, she was free to go with whoever she pleased. Donald turned quite pale and started shaking and kept saying, one day, quick-tempered.
Is Donald generous? He would have made Betty a good husband. He was always attentive and generous, a true gentleman. Generous.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald may share many character traits with the murderer, but he does not have his cold indifference. He has a temper. It is hard to imagine him planning anything. Also, jealousy is his motive, and crimes of passion are rarely planned.
Right, I suppose it's my turn to be subjected to the same scrutiny.
Absolument, Mr. Clark. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Well, folks, look at the time. Sorry, I must cut in here. Donald may be not the killer. We'll look into Franklin next. Maybe we will find our killer. Inshallah, we'll meet again soon. Bye for now. Assalamu alaikum.